All right, everybody, welcome back to another Sunday night live stream. We are going to do another mock draft for y'all. I say we. I am going to do another mock draft for everybody here tonight, and we now have a little bit of closure with the Odell Beckham news. For those of you again who don't know, if you're just viewing this and you haven't seen any other NFL news the rest of the day, OBJ is now a Baltimore Raven. It looks like he just took the first contract that overpaid him, $15 million in guarantees, which is $13 million signing bonus, 1 point ish, 13 point ish million in signing bonus, 1.2 something in his base salary, and he can earn up to $18 million in his total contract. So glad that they were not on board with that, to say the least, because that's a lot of money to invest in him. Not to mention Baltimore, who knows what holds at quarterback for them. I don't think it's going to be Lamar. I don't think he wants to be back in Baltimore, but we'll find out. We will find out for sure. So what's going on, everybody? Welcome in, Terry, Gary, and Sugary. Jeremy, how y'all doing? Aaron, how you doing, man? Nice to see you. Ooh, got some hair in my eye. All right. Oh. All right. Well, we've got a mock draft in store. Going to make sure that we address some things with wide receiver for sure, considering Odell Beckham's off the board. That might also price out DeAndre Hopkins to an extent. He might not, or the Cardinals might not be picking up as much of his contract as originally thought. Maybe it makes him more expensive as well too. All right, what's up, man? So we'll do this one more time, and the Orlando Brown the OBJ contract. I say Orlando Brown, because of obvious reasons. So let's see. The breakdown is here from Tom Pelissero: $13.835 million signing bonus. Jesus is asking what the contract is. 13.85 in signing bonus, which is nuts. It's nuts. $1.165 million base salary, $3 million in incentives. So basically $15 million straight up for OBJ, which I can guarantee you he probably won't reach the incentives, which are in his contract. So you get $15 million up front, and that's what you get Odell. What's going on, Dave? What's up, Randy? How you guys doing? So if you guys do have questions, since we are going to do a mock draft tonight, just make sure, put the question marks in front. We'll get to some of them. We won't get to all of them. If you have a super chat, I will make sure to answer that no matter what. I know that there's going to be quite a bit about Richie James. I think we'll answer that off the top before we go into the mock draft, just so you guys know. So there's a couple of them in the chat already. Terry has asked the question off the top. So we'll answer the question, and anybody else who has a question about Richie James, we'll probably try to revert back to this point. But Terry is asking, what do I think about Richie James? This is a good backup receiver. He's a depth receiver. He was forced into a starting role with the Giants last year. Played well. He was a little bit better. I think he's a better in-space player. He's pretty fast. I think that the 49ers used him the best way possible 2 years or 3+ years ago when he was in their offense, using him in space downfield. He's good at attacking deep down the field. Out of necessity, he had to do some things differently for the Giants. Mostly a slot player, but you can use him on end arounds. You can use him in the quick game and let him get moving upfield. I think that's where he's probably best. He also showed some ability to handle back shoulder throws and some contested catches. So there's that on the radar for him too. It's a nice special team signing. He's going to do some things there for Dave Toub, and he's going to be a good backup and depth receiver, which the Chiefs didn't have much depth at all going into the season, going to even right now. So yeah, that's pretty much how that rolls off for me. And what's up, Kurt? All right, one more question here. We'll put them up. All right, so like I said, we are going to get into another mock draft. So I'm kind of toying around with the idea of doing an entire first round mock draft, like the entire first round, and going through and selecting everybody that I think that would happen. This was suggested to me, so we'll see if we get to that before the draft. See if we have time to do one like that. If not, I will absolutely do one on Twitter, and I will release it here as well. In terms of maybe just do a little screenshot of it. We'll put it up on the channel and Twitter for anybody that wants it. So, all right. So we will definitely come down here, change this to relatively slow, and we'll go into 7 rounds. Chiefs are selected. We will go ahead and enter. All right. One bit of information before something that I'd like to see. I personally think the Chiefs are going to trade up. Ryan's much better at the trading aspect than I am, but this is a pretty user-friendly system. So if you guys want me to trade up in the first round, go ahead and let me know. And I'll do it right now while I ask a few questions. Or answer a few questions. All right. All right, Kevin, appreciate you. Dan, do you think they should draft a running back later, re-sign McKinnon? I think they should do both. I think that McKinnon should be back in Kansas City, and they should also draft a running back on day 3. That's pretty much what I think really should happen. So trade up, absolutely trade up, trade the 1920. We'll probably end up trade up. Okay, so that was pretty easy. But yeah, Kevin, I think that they should do both. McKinnon makes a lot of sense. I actually don't necessarily think that his tweet was directly related to what's going on in Kansas City. I think that's something that we see a lot with fans and even media. They see a tweet and they just assume it has something to do with what his current situation is. So that's just my own thing. Joseph, man, thank you for the super chat. Good evening. What percentage do you give the Chiefs drafting a receiver in the first and second? Right now, I think that the chance of them taking a receiver is probably around 75-80% in the first 2 rounds. I believe that is coming to a head. You have 3 guys that played snaps last year, and that's it for Kansas City. You have those 3 receivers that played snaps for the Chiefs last year. You don't have anybody else. Richie James, like I said, it's going to be a nice complementary depth piece special teams guy. They have to add 2 or 3 receivers, or probably 2 receivers, if we're being honest. 2 receivers in the draft, and they have to. They don't have a choice. So we're going to go ahead and try to trade up here. Appreciate the super chat once again and the support, Joseph. Always appreciate you being here and coming in with us. So let's see what we got. All right. So we're going to try to see here to the New York Giants. Let's see if we can get just get to 25. We'll see how it looks. But if you know what? I don't want to do it before. Let's see how it's. Yeah, let's start this draft. Where's the speed? The speed clock. Interesting. I don't have a speed clock. I think it was slow. I'm pretty sure it was. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get this started, and we'll pause if things are going well. All right, so quarterback, Will Anderson, quarterback. This is, pretty standard, I think, at this point. Will Levis, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Broderick Jones, Peter Skronsky. All right, here's the top 15. This is the top 15 of this draft. I think this is so far pretty close to how it's probably going to end up. I think these guys are going to end up going. So you got Anderson. You got Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Will Anderson, Anthony Richardson, Tyree Wilson, Christian Gonzalez to the Lions. That's a good pick in my opinion. I think he's the best corner in this draft. Jalen Carter to 7, so that makes sense. Still staying in the top 10. Will Levis, that's a bit of a reach, but we all understand. I think the Falcons are going to stay where they're at and not draft a quarterback, but we'll see. It's not out of the question for them to take one at all. And then you see Jackson Smith and Jigba to the Bears. I understand. Paris Johnson, there's the tackle run right here. 10, 11, 12. There it is. I think that 3 tackles could go inside the top 12 pretty quickly. So yeah. But yes, to answer your question real quickly, Jeremy, yes, I do believe that Miles did, but his pro day results have upgraded his draft position, and people really do think, that he's going to be drafted pretty highly. I've always thought that was going to happen personally. But all right, so we've got Devin Witherspoon at 13, Nolan Smith, Miles Murphy. This is a pretty standard what I'm expecting to happen. So let's go a few more and let's see what we got here. Joey Porter, Lucas Van Ness. There's Quentin Johnston. Okay. So I know the Chargers aren't going to trade with the Chiefs. That's just not going to happen. But the next five places: Joey Porter Jr., Lucas Van Ness. Again, this is pretty standard. Quentin Johnston makes sense. Brian Branch and Kalijah Cansey. So we're gonna go to 25. We're gonna go to 25, and we're gonna see what happens here. 21. There's Zay Flowers. All right, here we go. So this is right in the wheelhouse. This is I really do think this could happen right here. Jordan Addison can be the player that falls. And I think that this starts to make a lot of sense, personally. I think the Giants would actually be looking to take Jordan Addison or one of these receivers here because they still have lots of needs. But the picks that went: Zay Flowers, Bijan Robinson, Deontay Banks, Darnell Wright. So let's get on the clock with the Giants, and let's see if we can't get pick 25. All right, so we're going to say 31. All right, we're going to say 134 to go to pick 25 and hit Jordan Addison. Let's see if we can get this. All right. Here we go. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to keep that up there. My apologies. But again, thank you for the super chat, Joseph. Keeping it up there the entire time. All right, so here's what we got. Let's see if I can actually take this out just a little bit. There we go. There we go. So we moved up to 25 with the New York Giants. We sacrificed one of the fourth-round draft picks to get from 31 to 25, and I think that the target here is going to be Jordan Addison. Just think about Jordan Addison in this offense. I know that there's a lot of slot receivers, but the Chiefs view both, Tony and MVS as guys that can play on the outside. I think that Addison has some traits to play there as well. Physicality does bother him, but this is something that I can see happening very, very realistically in terms of the Chiefs need to trade up to get one of these guys. I think the most likely guy to fall outside of those top 3 or 4 picks is Jordan Addison, or the top 3 receivers to go. So I understand that Brissy is a very fun player. He's not a first-round draft pick. He's not. And he's everything that I've seen on his tape is extremely inconsistent. He flashes, but he's not a first-round pick in my opinion. I just don't. And you're also, the value for trading up in the first round for a defensive lineman, a defensive tackle, is not there. It's not there. You're trading up for a defensive end, trading up for a tackle, trading up for a wide receiver. You're not trading up for a defensive lineman. So I understand that there's a lot of Brees. And again, if I get him in the second round, I just traded up, Iceberg. I'm not trading back. I just traded up from 31 to 25 to get Jordan Addison. That's what's going to happen. So we are going to trade up here to get the wide receiver. We kept the second round. We kept the third round. I don't think trading up for Anton Harrison makes a ton of sense because, again, if we stick with the Chiefs' thought that they are going to play Jawan Taylor at left tackle, then they don't need to. Obviously, they've kept themselves open to doing that. But just for anybody joining right now, I traded with the New York Giants, pick 134, which is their second fourth-round pick. I kept that first fourth-round pick. So they have pick 25, 63, 95, and 122. I kept every first round and first 4 picks in order to move up to 25 to select Jordan Addison. I think that this makes a lot of sense. Oh yeah, she's gonna get big. Yeah, my daughter is watching Little Mermaid, and that is that's just no. I don't want to trade with him. So yeah, I'm gonna draft Jordan Addison. I'm just saying that's what I went up to get. I went up to get the receiver, and we're gonna let it happen. Okay. All right, so let's see what we got. Let's just go back through the rest of it. So Michael Mayer went pick 26. Brian Brissy went 27. Mozzie Smith went 28. That's whew, that's really far up there. Please, y'all, make sure for the extra content and full RGR experience and Discord membership, you can sign up here today, right there on that YouTube, that link right there below. Appreciate Nightbot for putting that up for everybody to get in the Discord. It's a lot of fun. We have fun in there all the time. You guys can also directly talk to myself, Ryan, any member of the RGR crew, if you just add us there. All right, so let's go ahead and answer a few more questions while I stack up a few more here. All right, good. There we go. So really quickly, we'll round out the first round. Dalton Kincaid went 29. Cam Smith, good. I think that's a good value pick for them for the Eagles. Makes sense. Anton Harrison went 31. So Osiris Torres, good pick for the Steelers. Will McDonald went to the Texans, and Dwan Jones to the Cardinals. Makes sense. All of that makes a lot of sense. Let's go ahead and resume the draft and answer some questions. Thank you for the question, Anthony. How do you feel about wide receiver Mingo in the third? I don't think he's going to be a third-round pick. I think he's going to be a second-round pick. I think that the size and the skill set he offers, it makes far too much sense to not have him go down further. You know what I mean? He's going to be somebody with, again, 220, 6'3". He moves way better for a guy that size, and I really do think that he's going to be someone much more widely renowned in this draft class for his size and speed and ability. I think he's a really good ball winner too. He's got good ball skills. So I think he'll be a second-round pick, and I wouldn't even sneeze at second-round pick for the Chiefs either. So yeah, I'm pretty high on him. I like him a lot, and I think he makes a lot of sense for this Chiefs team. It's a little early for McDonald, isn't it? You know, he's going to go based off of traits, Aaron. I think that a lot of people are really interested in what he could be as a 4-3 or a 3-4 defensive end, outside linebacker, speed rusher kind of guy. That's my opinion, though. I don't think he's a great pick in the first round myself. Thank you for the question, Sugary. Anyone in the top 30 visits that caught your eye? You know, Quentin Johnston, some of the bigger names, they do a lot of looking at players that you don't get a ton of information on. They bring in guys that they have questions on. They bring guys in that they want to do a little bit more background information, talk to them about their schools and get more information about why they maybe went to an either HBCU school, FCS school. That's more of what I think they do for their top 30. But, you know, having Quentin Johnston in and some of the other bigger named players, you know, Darnell Wright was in, Rasheed Rice was in, that's looking like players that they're extremely interested in the second round. That's who I think. So those are the only guys that caught my eye. I just like seeing the diversity that they bring in to really get a lot of information on this class as possible. Little Caddy, I'll be very honest with you. I don't know who Jack Coletto is. So if you want to write back in the chat here who he is, where he's from, and I'll see if I can get looking at him. I appreciate it, John. After signing James, what effect does that have on any later picks? Zero. You're just a depth. It's a depth player, and they need depth wide receivers. It will have zero impact on what the Chiefs do at wide receiver or any other picks in the draft. Okay. Let's do a little bit of a quick review here. Josh Downs went right at 35 after Dwan Jones. BJ Ojolari, Felix Enadike Uzama, 37. Forbes, Adebaware, Campbell. This is all pretty standard guys here. So let's just keep it going. And we'll just kind of let this run out and we'll get to it. We'll answer some more questions. I know there's someone, again, if you guys are asking a question, you want a question answered, make sure to hit in the chat, but put the question marks beforehand so I can pick it out much easier. All right. So get this out of my way so I can look at the guys that went. Edge players, Keon White just went off the board. Siaki Ika, defensive tackle. Tuli Tupualada. Ooh, that's going to be a bad one for me to pronounce. Twipaladu. All right, so for those of you first that are coming in right now, I traded up to pick 30, or from pick 31 to pick 25. I used the Chiefs' second, fourth round draft pick to get to 25 and select Jordan Addison. So that was the first pick right there. I only used one of the fourth round draft picks. So I think that was a pretty good value move for the Chiefs to go up and do that. But yeah, OBJ getting 15 million up front from the Ravens is a huge pass. So let's see, what do we got? Let's look at the players on the board because again, I don't trust anything here. We'll look at tackle and defensive end because I think that those are the two other positions that they're going to be needing to take. So this is an interesting concept because Nick Herbig is a little bit undersized, but he plays defensive end, outside linebacker really, really well. Like he's a very good pass rusher. He's one of the best pass rushers in this entire class, to be very honest with you. So it's very interesting that he's here because he has he does fill a need for the Chiefs in a pass rusher, but it's hard to project him because he's a little bit shorter arms than a guy and a little bit lighter than a guy you like to see at defensive end. So I just got done watching his tape today. You know, Derek Hall is right there. Carl Brooks has been a guy getting a lot of love lately. I'm not touching Andre Carter in the second round. It's unheard of. Byron Young, a couple of names, Zach Harrison still on the board, obviously. So there's some names here at defensive end the Chiefs could be looking at, excuse me. Yeah, quite a few guys. I know people are pretty big fans of Nick Saldiveri out of Old Dominion. I'll get to his film in a little bit. Yeah, you can watch. Yeah, of course. Yeah, go ahead. Okay, so the Chiefs are at 62. I know some of you want to trade back, so we'll look at the trades. I'm looking. Teams interested. Okay. But they're not giving me anything. I don't understand. Huh. That's a little weird. These are just people that are interested. They're not looking to trade up. Okay, I understand. They don't give me what they want to trade to move down. Not really interested in that personally, but yeah, I see that, Tad. All right, so let's see here. We got some gear in the RGR store. Make sure you check it out. We have tons of gear. I think Ryan's still working on his patent for the Mahomes MVP design. The Rogue Nation design's there too. So make sure you're checking out the store, getting the gear. Here's that link one more time for you guys. All right. Thoughts on Freeland? I like Freeland. I like Freeland. He's a really good athlete, but he's definitely a second round pick. This is someplace that I would like. I would like the Chiefs to look at someone like him if they went wide receiver in the first round. I believe that's right. Aaron. Code RGR23 should be the code that you guys want there for the RGR store, as well as the draft guide. Ryan really sent me through this and not letting me know where to get put the link up there, but I'll find it. I will find it if the Nightbot has that in the chat too. That'd be awesome to let me know. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look here. So Broncos don't want to trade with the Broncos to 69. Okay. I mean, you're not going to give me a top 100 pick for it. Like, that's not going to happen. I don't know. I personally just don't think it's worth it. I guess I just don't. I don't think it's worth it to move down from here to get anybody myself. So there it is. RogueAPC.com. I forget. There we go. So use the code RGR23, I believe, here and as well as on the store. Get you guys a discount on the draft guide, which we are looking to drop on Monday. Working on linebackers and safeties now to finish that out before tomorrow, and we should continue to update it up until draft day. So yeah. All right, let's go ahead and make a pick here because I'm gonna go crazy. I'm gonna put it up to you guys, and we're gonna go. You know, we always go that route. So we will say Byron Young out of Tennessee or Blake Freeland, the tackle out of BYU. What player do you want? Yeah, Connor, we always draft Derek Hall for the most part, so we're going to give a little different feel. I know that he's older. You know, Derek Hall's also a senior out of Auburn, but Byron Young is 25, so, and he's got much more athletic ability than Derek Hall does. So again, it's Byron Young, defensive end out of Tennessee, or Blake Freeland, tackle out of BYU. And we shall answer some questions here. Connor, thank you for the question. If Darnold's on the board at 25, do you think about trading up? Personally, I would. Again, if you can get to 25 and use one of your fourth round picks to get Darnold right, absolutely. I would do that too if you don't think the value is there for wide receiver. Definitely. Blake Freeland, tackle, Freeland. Looks like Freeland's the pick so far. After this question, I'll make the pick. So if you have an opinion on the player you want, again, that's Byron Young, defensive end out of Tennessee, or Blake Freeland, tackle out of BYU. Go ahead and put it in the chat. Well, thank you, Travis, for the question. What is the most important attribute in a receiver that we need? Route running, separation, speed, etc. Seems like we'll have to sacrifice something in this draft based on what we're picking. So the ability to separate in this offense is probably the most valuable thing, or being able to read a defense. Those two things go hand in hand, in my opinion. You have to be able to separate against man coverage. You have to be able to understand defensive coverage and defensive leverage, things like that are more valuable because they don't really use a ton of downfield ability with ball winning. They know that Andy Reid can scheme open everybody underneath and get, speed downfield is always a useful thing. But today's day and age, with how they're condensing defenses and putting more defenders in the way, reading defense, reading zone defense, and reading the field around you, being able to get open is the most important thing. So at least that's, in my opinion, it's becoming more and more important in today's NFL to be able to read a field and get open and sit into soft spots and things like that. That's why Juju was valuable for the Chiefs last year. He was very able to get in some of those soft spots and really work the back shoulder throw. So yeah, that's just that's how I see it. All right, so it does look like the pick is going to be Blake Freeland, tackle out of BYU, 6'7" athlete, has some things to work on with his power. His anchor is a little bit off as well, but in this offense, we know that the way to play tackle is a little bit made easier by Patrick Mahomes. So starting at right tackle or left tackle, I will go ahead and answer that right now. I don't have any concerns either way in terms of his ability because he's a really good athlete. If the Chiefs want him to play left tackle, I'm sure he played left tackle at BYU. But if they want to play right tackle, I'm sure he could learn it. They have the ability to flip-flop as things happen that way. So I don't have any issues personally with his ability to do either or, if that makes any sense. All right. Byron Young went at pick 89. That would be an area that the Chiefs might look to trade up to get a good old Byron Young or someone like that. But Defensive end is probably back on the board here for the Kansas City Chiefs. The value for that isn't all that great. Isaiah McGuire, Carl Brooks. Again, I think Brooks is a good player. KJ Henry is another option that I like as well. I do think that some form of these three positions is how the Chiefs will be going. But where else we got some value here? No, it's not safety. Defensive line. Kobe Turner, Ojomo. These are the guys that always get picked. Byron Young's a good player. Jared Clark's getting some love too. I think we could always look at tight end, but that seems to be pretty pick dry at this point. They all go by the third round. Okay. Where's the value? All right. You know what? We'll do this one for the Mizzou fans in here. How about that? 6'4", 268. Don't know if I buy that. I don't remember what his. Is it? Oh, I just forgot how to spell him. Let's look up his numbers real quick. Okay. So he is 6'4". He's got 33 7/8" arms. He's 270 pounds. Decent numbers, not a great 10-yard split, but we all know that they don't care about that. I don't mind this pick here in the third round, to be honest with you. That seems very Spags-ish right there. So I'm gonna select Isaiah McGuire, and then I'm gonna go over the draft so far for everybody that just came in. So everybody that just came in again, I traded from 31 to 25 with the New York Giants. I gave up the second of the fourth round draft picks, so pick 132, to move up to 25 to select Jordan Addison. In the second round, we selected Blake Freeland, tackle out of BYU, and we just took Isaiah McGuire, defensive end out of Mizzou, because why the hell not? Why the hell not? And there's no, I don't understand. I understand people wanting to trade down to do that, but I didn't really do anything to take away from the cupboard. It was a fourth round pick. And they had tons of picks remaining too. So I'm totally okay kind of staying here, moving around a little bit. What? Yes, you can go get your apple. Oh, okay. Well, thank you for telling me. All right. Actually, Kobe Turner's still here. I'm a big fan of Kobe Turner. Briley Moss is a good player. Ivan Pace is fun as hell. This dude, he's so much fun to watch play. Coburn is there. Trey Palmer. Oh, this is all right. I think this is a good spot to look at wide receiver again. So I do think two wide receivers makes a lot of sense. Okay, I think that makes a lot of sense. But before I see a question here that I will answer, CCJ, sorry. Thoughts on Cal safety Daniel Scott? I haven't watched any of the safeties yet. It's been a work in progress. I've done tackles, defensive ends, defensive tackles. I'm doing linebackers right now, wide receivers, running backs, guards, and centers. I've watched a lot of those players so far, and I haven't seen any of the safeties. And I've done corner too. I have literally watched every single position outside of corner, outside of safety. So that's it's a working. We're getting there. So maybe if you guys ask on Monday, Ryan will know much more about him than I do. All right, so I don't want any of that. I want receiver. Wide receiver. Trey Palmer is a fun option. Let's look at his numbers for you guys. All right. Trey Palmer, 6 foot, 192 pounds, out of Nebraska. Ran a 4.33 with a 1.51 40. So I like that for the speed element. You figure Jordan Addison is the create space route running guy who is not great at yak, in my opinion. I think he's a good yak player, not great at it. He's not huge. Trey Palmer's bigger in terms of size, weight. He's bigger. He's faster, and that kind of speed makes a lot of sense for this offense. You could replace McCole Hardman's element, but also have a bit of a speed and not just speed, but size factor to that as well. And then there's the defensive ends. I think Xavier Hutchinson's a nice option in the 4th round. There's gonna be defensive tackles, which apparently are all down here on the value chart. There's Coburn, there's Turner, Tavai, Clark. These are all Slade's fun player. Redmond's a nice player too, to be honest with you. But Majomo's gone, so we don't have to worry about that. Also better by Palmer. You're right about that, Aaron. Is Voorhees there? Let's look. He is not. Looks like somebody rightfully has already snatched him up, which makes a lot of sense. I don't expect him to get this far in the draft either. I think he's gonna go because someone knows that he's going to make a really good player, and the injury is only kind of throwing him off. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take Trey Palmer. We got Jordan Addison, and we got Trey Palmer to combine with Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney. I think that makes a lot of sense. And let's sit here and wait. I like that. I like that combination, to be honest with you. I think that makes a lot of sense for what the Chiefs want to do with their wide receiver room. So now there goes Kendrick Coburn. Get out of here. I'm just looking. And there's Kobe Turner. Okay. Defensive line starting to get a little slim. All right. It's a good thing the Chiefs put a bunch of their whoa. All right. So let's recap for those of you again that are joining right now. I went from 31 to 25 using the second of the Chiefs' 4th round draft picks to go and get Jordan Addison at 25. Then we drafted Blake Freeland, tackle out of BYU, in the 2nd round. Drafted Isaiah McGuire out of Missouri, defensive end, in the 3rd round. Then we just took Trey Palmer in the 4th. And now we're going to be just kind of piling up some other players here. Thoughts on Raheem Jarrett? He's got lots of development to do. He doesn't really know the nuances and how to play the wide receiver position, in my opinion. He's a really good athlete, really good yak player, but in terms of running routes and getting open, reading a defense, he doesn't know really what he's doing. So he has a lot of development to do. And if we are asking the Chiefs to develop a player to get better at route running and spatial awareness, I don't think that that's something that they have done very well, personally. So it's not something that I would look to take a chance on myself with the Chiefs, but that's just me. All right. I'm gonna put some of these defensive linemen up here because I haven't gotten this deep at defensive line. I've seen a little bit of Jared Clark. Again, if you guys have any opinions on any of these defensive linemen, because I think it's time to start taking some while I answer. Jeremy here. Appreciate the super chat, man. On Locked On, Matt Derrick said he wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs took 3 receivers in the draft. Thoughts? How many wide receivers will the Chiefs will draft? So It would surprise me a little bit. They don't have the roster spots for them. They have right now, if they take 2 receivers in this draft, again, if we project that Justin Ross is going to make the roster, at just kind of project, that's the wide receiver room. You already have your 4 guys that on the roster right now, and Richie James, MVS, Sky Moore, and Kadarius Toney. There's 4. If we think Emir Smith Marset can be a return guy, there's 5. If he makes the roster, they take 2 receivers. There's 2. Oh, that's kind of odd man out. So I'd be surprised if they took 3, to be honest, because there are some practice squad guys that they like. There's there are 4 guys now on the roster, so I think 3 makes a little bit of an uneven, in my opinion. That's all I would say to that. But if they do, they do. I think they take 2 in the draft, though. Thank you, Jeremy. Appreciate you, man. All right, double down on tackle. Maybe. Definitely not out of the question for these last few picks here. Thanks, Tad. Where would you look for a guard to backfill? Oh, where would you look for a guard to fill for Tooney so we could walk on him next and save $20 million? Don't think they're going to do that personally. I think that they're going to find a way to keep him in Kansas City because of how good he is and how good he's been. So that's just my opinion. All right. Let's look at tackle as well. And actually defensive end too, because why not? There's a speed rusher complement that I like. Thomas and Nkoum. He's fun. A nice toolsy guy off the edge. Again, would be more of a developmental kind of guy with some speed to his name. So I like him. But cupboard is kind of barren there. Yeah, I know. I'm with you, Alan. I think defensive line's a must. But based on value, I know. I think I'm going to just take Slade, I'll be honest. I'm going to side with Aaron. We're going to take Jacob Slade, defensive lineman out of Michigan State. They like to produce some big hulking defensive linemen in there. All right, so cornerback I'm looking at. I think that they're pretty set at corner, but there's a couple guys that are later round values here, all 3 right here. Alex Austin, Nick Jones, and Rajon Wright all kind of fit what the Chiefs want to do. Maybe not Nick Jones. Maybe Nick Jones is smaller. I know Rajon Wright and Alex Austin fit what the Chiefs want. Yeah, good job, sweetie. Fit what they want to do and in terms of size, length, and that kind of thing. But let's look at running back right here. I think running back is a good spot to hit. Kenny McIntosh, Keaton Mitchell, Evan Hall, Chris Rodriguez. No thanks. So, Chief Kelsey, I just put it in, and the Giants took it. That's all I can tell you. That's what I did. All right, tight end. Starting to get to the ends of the lists here. Cameron Letu is a good player. I think we can get a running back later, so I'm gonna take Cameron Letu here in the fifth round. No, beginning of the 6th round, and then we'll make our second 6th round pick with a corner. Probably go running back too, and then I think we're gonna take Keaton Mitchell if he's still there. To be very honest, I know lots of PFF guys aren't big on him because he's a bit smaller, but he's according to the Matrix, he is the most athletic running back in the entire draft, and that just kind of fits what the Chiefs want. So I think the last 3 picks we're going to go running back, corner, and backup quarterback. Does that make sense to everybody? What's up? What? Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, he is gone. Okay. So somebody took Cameron. They took him. Where'd he go? Let's find him. Keaton Mitchell. There he is, to the Lions. Okay. That makes sense. John, that would be a no. I don't take punters. I don't take kickers. You can get them as UDFAs and free agents. There goes Rajon Wright. All right. Let's see here. Here's a lot of the bigger backs in this class. Deneric Prince is another one that was an athletic guy. I think he was pretty fast at the combine. Yes, Iceberg Latu. Yeah, he ran as one of the better athletes in the draft as well. 6 foot, 216. Is a redshirt senior. 4.41 in the 40, a 1.53 10-yard split, 35 vertical, 10.4 broad jump too. So he's a guy who's probably closer to Isaiah Pacheco, I think, in terms of his athletic ability. But I think he has more wiggle, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't seen a ton of Tulsa offense, so let's kind of look right here. I know people are asking for safety. They have 4 safeties in the room now, so it's hard to know. And again, I have not looked at any of the safeties at all, except for the top guys that I already know. But I do like Kayvon Merriweather. I saw him at the Senior Bowl. Yeah, Allen, running back with good size. All right, so Iceberg, you're saying good value for safety. Who you looking at, huh? Who you looking at? Give me a name. Give me a name. Otherwise, because I think it might be between Merriweather and Prince, just to give it a different feel. Or I'll just take Alex Austin now. Anthony Johnson, huh? Oh, that's not what I meant. I got 2 people asking about Anthony Johnson. You know what? Let's do it. All right, Iceberg, Aaron. I don't know. I don't watch much Iowa State defense, but you guys are both in on it. Let's go. I think I know how this is going to end up. So let's just wait and see here, and then we'll do a review of the draft, see what you guys like and what you don't like, and then we'll wrap it up for the evening. If you guys have any last minute questions, super chats, go ahead and get them in now before the end of the show, and we'll get you on out of here for your Sunday Easter night. All right, so there's the guy that I want to draft, and there's the other guy I want to draft. So I'm going to take both of these guys, and we're just going to kind of head on out of here. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know, Aaron. I wonder what's wrong with him too if he's still there. Maybe PFF doesn't like him because remember these are all based off of PFF rankings. So if they don't like a player, that's where they end up being. Doesn't necessarily mean that would happen. So here is the draft. Again, I will not look at these at the grades. Don't make a ton of sense. But I traded up to 25 to select Jordan Addison. We got Blake Freeland in the 2nd round. Isaiah McGuire in the 3rd. This bigger, hulking, around 270-pound, long-armed defensive end out of Missouri. Trey Palmer at pick 122. I like that pick, to be honest with you. I think it's a really nice pick. Jacob Slade, defensive tackle. Defensive tackle out of Michigan State. Cameron Latu, I don't really care about their about their grades. Like I said, and then Anthony Johnson was an A plus by them. So if you makes sense that if it was a good value iceberg, and then Deneric Prince and Alex Austin. I like the draft from a totality standpoint. The wide receiver, I like both of those picks quite a bit for where they are. I think Jordan Addison in the top 25 is a good value for him, especially because I think this is really possible he falls at 25. So McGuire, I need to watch more of his tape. But I agree, Aaron. I think Palmer's probably the best value in the entire this entire draft. If Iceberg's right about Anthony Johnson, then he would be too. But I'm a fan of Alex Austin. Rajon Wright would have been my first pick, but he ended up being taken. But again, it is what it is. So yeah, if you guys have any last questions, we'll do that. But yeah, that was fun. I like to trade up for guys that I think will impact this offense, and I think Jordan Addison in Kansas City is just a lot of fun. He can do a lot of things scheme wise, defense wise, understanding defenses, running routes, those things that Andy Reid could utilize immediately. He would be somebody to get in this offense next to Kadarius Toney. Not as fast, not as quick, but they have very good complements to each other. I think that's a very nice way to go about it. And then next year, if you don't have MVS next year, you can draft a bigger receiver, guy over 6 foot. But yeah, I think there's a good possibility some of these guys here end up in Kansas City. And I also like that we didn't take the normal players that we see a lot. Like that does tend to happen where we get into these into these molds that we do, we do mock drafts and we kind of see the same players and we see the same guys that we think will fit. There's other fits, there's other players that Kansas City might look at too. So this was a nice contrast to what we normally see from myself on Twitter, Ryan and myself doing these on a normal basis, Ryan himself. So it is definitely fun. I know Lay2 is Ryan's guy, but typically I like to do a little bit of a different thinking. So yeah. All right, one last question here. Appreciate you, Sugary. Do you think Andy Reid is less concerned with size compared to other teams in wide receiver? It sure looks like it, with them not looking to get anybody in here and thinking that Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney are going to be, these focal points. But also, Jordan Addison, 6 foot. I think is what came in at 5'11" or something like that. Just quickly, I want to make sure. I think he may have come in. Yeah, 5'11". So 5'11", 6, and then Trey Palmer is 6 foot, Kadarius Toney at 6 foot. So there's still relative size to those 3 players if they were to end up in Kansas City. Sky Moore's on the shorter end, but he's really the only one on the shorter end. It doesn't matter how you get open in the NFL as long as you can do it, and Andy Reid can do it with the best as the best level of anybody in the NFL. So I don't necessarily think he cares a ton. I do think that he likes to have some size to contrast. You have Justin Ross. I think he's only 6 foot too, as well. When I say 6 foot as well. I want to make sure I'm not giving you guys wrong information. Yeah, Iceberg. MBS is 6'4", so he's got some size to him. No, Justin Ross is also 6'4", so there's size if he ends up making the roster as well. So at the end of the day, Iceberg said it best: open is open. Patrick Mahomes is the guy that makes it all run. Doesn't matter if they're big, doesn't matter if they're small. They can get open. They can work in this offense. So I like that a lot. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I really do. I'm liking this draft from a standpoint of difference, but also lots of fits that I think can end up in Kansas City too. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I enjoy interacting and seeing who you want to pick and kind of how it goes down for those first 4 rounds. So yeah, I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Sunday, Easter Sunday night, and we will see you guys tomorrow for the Q&A. Don't forget, we'll be doing that, and still every Monday. Where you guys have a question didn't get answered tonight, ask it tomorrow. We will do it then, and don't forget to check out RogueAPC.com for the NFL the draft. I just can't speak right now. The draft guide, which will be hopefully dropping tomorrow. And then check out the Discord. Right here is the link for the Discord. Make sure you get in. Being a member of the RGR Football will grant you guys access to that Discord. Make sure you're checking that out. Also, the gear. Right here is the link to get gear. There's great stuff over there. The Mahomes shirt, the the RGR Rogue Nation flag, the Grim the Reaper stuff, all that fun stuff. And yeah, make sure you pre-order your guides and now hit the like button, subscribe to the RGR channel. You guys know the drill. But again, make sure you guys have a great night, and we'll see you guys next time.